This is a story called She Believed She Could, So She Did. Louisa is a 10-year-old girl who has learning difficulties, autism and ADHD. She's mad on horses and she dreams of becoming a professional writer someday. However, because of her problems, no one believes that she'll be able to do the things that she really wants to do. It's not that they don't care or that they don't encourage her, because they do. It's just that her problems are quite bad and they just don't think that she'll be able to do the things that she really wants to do. This makes Louisa more determined to do the things that she really wants to do. She's only just turned 10 a week ago and she decided to spend some of her birthday money on a secret diary and notebooks. She starts writing stuff down, but try as she might, she just can't get the words on paper like she wants to do. She constantly says to herself, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and I'm going to keep trying until I can do the things I need to do and want to do. She told her family, friends and teachers this. Everyone was willing to help her, but she said, no, this is something I have to do by myself and for myself. If I need help, I'll ask for it, but I want to do this by myself because I believe I can. Her parents tell her that they are really proud of her. That first day she got her notebook and pencil and started writing. At first it took her about an hour just to write 2 sentences, because she kept making mistakes, but she still kept at it. By tea time she'd written almost half a page. Not much of it made sense, but she knew what it was meant to say, and she knew she was very proud of herself, and her whole family were very proud of her. When she went to school and showed her teachers and friends what she'd done, they too were very proud of her. Every day she practised, and every time she made a mistake, she rubbed it out and started again every day. Every day she wrote a bit more until one day she managed to write almost a whole page. None of what she'd written made sense, but it was a huge accomplishment for her, and she was proud of herself. When Louisa was at school she had any free time, she would practice her reading and writing constantly. Every day she wrote that bit more, and because no one could understand what she'd written, she told them what it was supposed to say. Sometimes people would laugh with her when she told them what the words on the bright piece of paper were supposed to say. One day she was off school with a tummy bug, but despite being poorly she sat at the kitchen table all day, practising her reading and writing. She was determined to overcome her problems and to make her dream of being a writer come true. The next day when she went back to school, her parents stayed off work so that they could put a desk and chair up and some shelves in her bedroom and give it a complete makeover as a surprise for her. When she came home from school and saw her new bedroom, she loved it. Her parents had even bought her loads of notebooks, writing pads, pens, pencils and erasers. Every day when Louisa wasn't at school and she wasn't out playing with her friends, she was in her room practising her reading and writing. Because of her ADHD, there were times when she got really frustrated and tearful, leaving her unable to concentrate. During those times she'd take a break and do something else and then go back to her reading and writing later. Her family and friends were very supportive and were always there to offer their support and to give her hugs when she needed one. Every day, both at home and at school, Louisa pushed herself harder and harder. Most of the time her writing was all mumble jumble, but she knew what she'd written even if no one else did. Then one day, just before Christmas, she managed to write a whole page of writing without getting her words jumbled up and without getting her letters backwards. She was so proud of herself that she couldn't stop smiling. She took the page of writing and showed it to her family, and then she read it to them. It took her about 15 minutes to read it, but again she was so proud of herself, she couldn't stop smiling. Her parents were so proud of her that they were crying tears of joy. All she wanted for Christmas that year was writing stuff. Every day all she did was practice her reading and writing. Even when she was having a bad day because of her problems, she still did her best to practice. When she couldn't concentrate, she'd take a break and go back to it later. A few days before her 11th birthday, Louisa managed to write just over 2 full pages. She did some of her letters backwards and got some of her words jumbled up, but she did it and she was very proud of herself. On her 11th birthday, her teachers gave her lots of writing stuff and gave her some books to help her with her reading and writing, and she was chuffed a bit. Every single day, without fail, she practiced her reading, writing and spelling. By the time she moved up to high school, her reading and writing and spelling had improved a great deal. She was still quite behind the other kids her age, but she was catching up slowly but surely. By the time Louisa was 13, she had caught up with the other kids her age, but she still sometimes got her words jumbled up and her letters back to front, but she was doing brilliantly. Of course, there were days that were really hard and making it really hard for her to concentrate because of her autism, etc. But she pushed herself through those days and came out smiling at the end of each one. By the time she was 16, she'd already started her first book. She called it She Believed She Could, So She Did, Part 1, and she worked on it day and night without fail. However, just before her 17th birthday, she suffered a setback. One of her friends almost died of meningitis and she never left her side. Then her grandma, who she was very close to, died of cancer, and she was devastated. However, this just made her more determined to finish her first book. Once she'd got over her setback, she went back to working on her book. By the time she was 18, she had finished her book and she sent it off to be published. Once it was published, it was usually popular, and she earned a lot of money from it. After her first book had been published, Louisa started on her second book, which was called She Believed She Could, So She Did, Part 2. Again, she worked day and night on it. By the time she reached her 19th birthday, her book was ready to be published, and she'd already started her third book, which was called She Believed She Could, So She Did, Part 3. All three books were about herself and how she'd coped with everything she had wrong with her, and how she overcame her learning difficulties, etc. She also included the stories of other girls who had the same conditions as her. The end. Thank you for watching, guys. Love you.